I've got another multiple palettes, multiple looks video for you today. I have 3 different palettes that I am using in today's video, creating a look with each of them. Look number 1 is with the Morphe Naughty palette. This is their most recent release that they came out with. It is pretty much pinky neutrals. Look number 2 is with the Unearthly Cosmetics Gothic Romance collection. I picked up the eyeshadow palette and the blush palette, and I'm using both in the look 2. Here is what the eyeshadow palette looks like, an absolutely gorgeous matte heavy palette. And the blush palette, it's their incandescent blush formula, which is their glowy blush formula. And then look number 3 is what you are seeing right now, and that is with the Beauty Bay Desert Haze palette. This is admittedly not a brand new palette. I did buy it when it came out a few months ago, but of course I wanted to use it on camera for you if you were curious about it. None of these are reviews. This is my first impression on all 3 palettes, so take it with a grain of salt. I do have to continue using these palettes several times before I get my full and final thoughts. They will be in a palette ranking in the future, but I just wanted to come on, play with them on camera with you. Would love to know your feedback. Did you pick up these palettes? Are you planning on picking them up? Are you skipping on them? Everything that is on my face in all 3 looks is going to be listed in the description box. I will also link these palettes. All 3 of them are available. They will be linked in the description box. I did purchase all of these myself, and I think that's all I have to say. There will be timestamps if you want to skip around, and I hope you enjoy the video. All right, so I am going to do a look with this new Morphe palette. This is the Morphe Naughty palette. I did try one of their 6-pan palettes. 6 pans? Yes, I believe 6-pan palettes earlier this year, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. So I'm wondering if this is going to be similar in terms of formula and quality. I did purchase this one myself at Ulta. It retails for $22, which I think is really reasonable. Now, I will say when I got this in and looked at it in person, it's definitely a lot more subtle. I don't feel like the shades are as saturated as the picture online. They're definitely a little more washed out, if you will. And there are a couple, like I've already swatched this palette, there are a couple of shades in this that I feel like are so similar. I wish they maybe had gone a different direction. Namely, these 2 shimmers, pretty similar. One of them has a little more of a champagne undertone, while the other one has a little bit more of a rose gold undertone. But on the eyes, I don't know how different they're gonna look. And then these 2 mattes are very similar. Again, this one has a slightly more cool toned undertone, but pretty similar. I wish they had put in like a dark burgundy or purple or something to kind of pull it in that direction, give more variety. And I will say the mattes swatched okay. The shimmers are definitely, I've heard this from a lot of you in the comments, the shimmers are definitely more dry, toppery. This one over here, this dark shimmer, is a more satin shade. It has a little bit more of a pigmented base, but it's not ultra sparkly or anything, but definitely has more pigment. These 2 are very sparkly, but very dry. And then all of these are pretty dry and toppery. So I'm interested to use them on the eyes though. I'm not gonna judge too harshly until I put them on the eyes. So like I said, it retails for $22. Morphe's Party Perfect Naughty Eyeshadow Palette is a curation of 12 rose tone neutrals and playful pops of pink. Features soft, matte, dazzling metallic, and new glistening topper shadow finishes. So there you go. Morphe is cruelty-free. And like I said, definitely in person, if I cover up like these 3 shades, everything else is brown. So just be aware of that. The packaging is a little deceiving in terms of like what you're getting. In my opinion, like when I looked at this online, I thought it was gonna be a lot more burgundy, but it's pretty neutral, which, listen, I'm not complaining about, okay? I like a neutral palette a lot. So I've already primed my eyes, and let's put these shadows on the eyes. I'm gonna go into this shade right here, which is called Play Nice. And I'm gonna put this through the crease. A lot of kick up in the pan. Really nice big mirror. And like I said, I tried one of their 6-pan palettes from earlier this year. I thought it was good. It wasn't the most spectacular shadows I've ever used, but also keeping in mind this is a drugstore brand. Like this matte is showing up great on my eyes. Like that looks great It's blending easily, but I can definitely see it. I think that's really pretty. I'm also gonna take that same shade on a smaller brush and apply it to my lower lash line. In my outer corner, I'm gonna go into this darker shade called Born Baddie. Yeah, that showed up great. I'm also gonna take a small brush and apply this to my lower lash line. I'm gonna go into this shade right here, which is called Wild Child. And I did put the NYX Glitter Primer on my lid off camera. This one looks, I'm not sure. Okay, let's apply it and see what it looks like. That's really pretty. But once again, like, I'm glad I went into this expecting them to be a little more on the subtle toppery side. But with that expectation, I think it's pretty. Like, I like a shadow like this. I don't need it to be ultra foiled all the time. So yeah, I think it's pretty. Next, I'm gonna go into this, I'm calling it satin, but it must be metallic because it is not dry and toppery. This shade right here called Hot Temper. I want to put this on a small brush, wet the brush, and I want to apply it to my lower lash line in the inner part of my lower lash line. And then for my inner corner, I want to pick up this shade here called Snow Good. And I'm going to also spray the brush with this because it's definitely more on the toppery side. Okay, so I'm gonna go off camera, finish up the rest of my look, come back to show you the final look and to give you just my initial thoughts. All right, and this is the finished look. What do you think? Listen, I am not mad at this look at all. At all. It is a really pretty neutral glam look. So I think my initial thoughts on this palette are you have to go in with the correct expectations. And I think if you are looking for a pretty simple, glam neutral look with a couple of pops of these like pinky tones, if you're not a huge color lover but you want to dabble in color and you don't want, you know, all the bells and whistles of some more expensive indie brands, then I think this is a good option. Like, I am really happy with how it looks. Are these the most innovative shadows I've ever used? No, but I think the fact that it is priced pretty low, it's accessible for a lot of people. You can shop on Ulta to purchase it. Those are pros in my opinion. So like I said, this isn't an indie palette that you're gonna compare to indie brands. So if you go in with those expectations and if you're looking for something like I just described, I think this is good. Now again, I haven't used every shadow, but the ones that I did use, I'm happy with. I really am. I like this look, but that is coming from someone who appreciates a subtle, pretty neutral look. I don't want a multi-chrome on my lid every day. It's just not something that I really wear on a daily basis. But I can appreciate multi-chromes when I want them, you know, when I want that little extra something. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. I'm going to continue using the palette and give a full review. I'll put it in a palette ranking in the future. But let me know if you picked up this palette and let me know what you think about it, or is this something you're eyeing? Let me know. All right, I will send you off to the next look now. All right, so today I'm gonna create a look using two of the Gothic Romance products from, wait a second. Two of the products from the Unearthly Cosmetics Gothic Romance collection. That's what I meant to say. So I purchased the palette, the color palette, which is the eyeshadow palette. Stunning, stunning packaging on this. Love the theming, love the vibe. It's very spooky season. We have a very heavily matte palette. There's only 4 shimmers in this palette, the rest are mattes. It's laid out in such an interesting way. When I got it in person and looked at it in person, I was able to take it in a little more. If you go by row, you can create some really easy monochromatic looks. I've already swatched the palette and the shadows swatched really, really nicely. I also got the Gothic Romance Cheek Palette. Incandescent Blush Palette is exactly what it's called. If you've used the incandescent blush formula from Unearthly before, then you know it is a glowy blush. It's definitely very soft in the pan. It's buildable. I have tried several of these in the past, so I'm excited to have this version. These two shades up here especially are calling to me. The more like, I don't know, dustier colors. The eyeshadow palette retails for $68. It is currently available. I will, of course, link this collection down below. The blush palette retails for $40. Unearthly Cosmetics is an indie brand out of Florida, and they are vegan and cruelty-free. You guys know if you've been here before, I adore Unearthly Cosmetics. I am friends with the owner, Amanda Hayden. She is one of my friends. But aside from that bias, I've loved Unearthly for years, even before I met Amanda. They just create the most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, but also very, very high quality products. Their eyeshadows are one of my favorite matte and shimmer formulas. So I'm so excited to test this and see if this is like the usual quality. And I have used the blushes before, like I said, and I want to just try a couple of the new shades on my face. So I would love to know your thoughts on this collection. Did you pick anything up? Are you planning on picking it up? Are you skipping on it? Whatever it is, let me know. And let's get started with the eye look. Because I am wearing like purple in my tie-dye shirt. By the way, this is my Nightmare Before Christmas tie-dye. And I have Lock, Shock, and Barrel on the back. They are my 3 favorite characters from the movie. But anyway, because there's purple in my shirt, I think I want to play with this top row and create a purple look. And this shimmer looks stunning. It definitely is at least a duochrome. It has, in the camera, you can see it's almost like a tealy green, but it does go to purple as well. So definitely want to include that in my look. I have already primed my eyes. I am going to go in with the shade Moonlit Vow right here, and I'm going to press this into the crease of my eye. This is kind of a pastel, so maybe not the best shade to use with a fluffy brush, but I am seeing it on my eyes. I want to take a slightly smaller fluffy brush and I'm going to go into the shade Lovelorn. I'm going to put this lower the crease and I want to kind of bring it out, almost like wing it out a little bit. Then I'm going to take the deepest purple Nocturne right here. I want to put this in the outer corner and into the crease and again, bring it out a little bit, kind of creating a slight wing action. And I'm just taking that second brush that I used with no extra product, and I'm just blending the edges a little bit. So off camera, I just put on the Shine On Shimmer Shadow Enhancer from Clionadh and Bad to the brow onto my lid. And now I wanna go in with Twilight Waltz, that shimmer I was talking about. So beautiful, love it. Wow, look how shiny that is, it's so pretty. Love it, absolutely love it. I'm gonna take a makeup wipe and just kind of wipe the edge so I have a guide for my winged liner. And then I'm going to use the NYX Epic Ink Liner in black. It's just their liquid liner to create a wing.
One hour later.
I have to go off camera and do this. I can't do it on camera. I'll be right back. All right, I am back with more stuff on my face. Let's finish up the eye look really quick. I did put a black liner into my waterline. I want to go into this black matte called Chapel Doors on a small flat definer brush and push it up against my lower lash line and connect it to the wing. I'm going to take a pencil brush. I'm going to blend that out with Nocturne, which is the darkest purple matte we used. And then on a really small fluffy brush, I'm gonna go into Lovelorn, this mid-tone purple. For my inner corner, I wanna go into the matte white called Ghostly Whisper. All right, let's try out one of these blushes. I really want to go into Covenant, which is like a brownish rose. It is such an interesting color. Oh, that is a beautiful color. I've been really into brown, rosy blushes this year. I feel like so many brands have come out with them. And this one is really pretty. So I'm not wearing a highlighter. You can see there is a little bit of glow, but it is not sparkly. It's not like chunky glitter. It's just a really soft glow, and there is a good amount of base color to it, which my pet peeve with some glowy blushes is it almost looks like a colored highlighter with not much of a base color, but this one definitely has a base color, but it's not overly pigmented. Like I went in pretty hard on the brush, and I think this is really pretty, but you can build it up, of course. So yeah, all right, let me go off camera. I'm gonna finish up the rest of this look, and I will come back to show you the final look and to give you my kind of initial impressions on these products. All right, and this is the finished look. What do you think? I think it came out really pretty. So, I mean, my initial impressions on these two products, now, of course, like I said, this is not a review. I'm just giving you my first impressions. With the palette, I think that the mattes worked out great. Unearthly mattes are definitely more on the pigmented side. So if you are like an absolute beginner to eyeshadow, you may have a hard time working with these mattes. But I do think that I was able to build the purples on top of each other very easily. There was a little bit of patchiness, but that's because of my eyes. When I put eyeshadows way out, I do have to go in with a clean brush and just blend out the edges. It blended out very easily in the end. It worked out great. So just know that their mattes are quite pigmented. I do appreciate the selection of mattes here though. Like I said, with the rose, you're getting kind of 4 monochromatic type rose that you can stick to, or of course you can mix and match. And all of the rose have light, mid-tone, and deep in those corresponding undertones, which I always appreciate. It makes it very easy to create looks. And then you have that shimmer that's corresponding. I didn't mention that all 4 of these shimmers are special shimmers. They all shipped. These 2 down here are a little more on the like iridescent side, and these ones have a little bit more of a darker base, so you're getting variety in terms of that as well. So I just have been really into my single shadows, single shimmer shadows, so I feel like this is going to pair really nicely with those. Very excited to continue to use this. I'm also really excited about the blush palette. The blush that I used, Covenant, I love. This type of rosy brown blush is something I've really been enjoying this year. I've already told you about the formula. It's very nice. I really enjoy how it worked out on this look, and I feel like this undertone of blush can go with all different types of looks, like eye looks. And then, of course, there's a really nice variety of different blushes here. So let me know your thoughts on this once again after you watched me use it. What do you think? I know a lot of people said that it is pretty expensive for how many mattes you're getting, and I do understand that. And I know Unearthly, this is kind of their usual price point. I don't feel like it's above and beyond what they've done. So, I mean, all 4 of the shimmers, and there are also special shimmers. So I don't have a problem with it. Of course, I bought it myself, so I knew what the price was and I bought it. I prefer a matte heavy palette. So that's kind of where I stand, but would love to know your thoughts. And I'm going to send you off to the next look now. Okay, our third look is going to be with the Beauty Bay Desert Haze palette. This isn't brand new. I did buy it when it launched, I want to say a few months ago, but I haven't used it yet. So I thought I would include it in today's video. And I really love this color story. It is gorgeous, full of warm tones, a couple of pops of blue, but mostly warm tones, which is in my preference. It is something I love. I really enjoy the Beauty Bay formula, especially for the price point. This palette retails for $22. I, in the past, have tried 2 Beauty Bay palettes, one of which I really enjoyed, which was the Reckless Romance palette. And then I also bought the something botanical, and I liked the shimmers, but some of the lighter mattes weren't very pigmented. So I'm very much looking forward to trying this out, seeing where I stand with this one. The Beauty Bay shimmer formula is pretty. It is just a standard shimmer. It's nothing too crazy over the top, but if you know me, I don't mind that at all. And yeah, I'm excited to give this one a shot. It says it's a limited edition 20 shade color palette of coppers, greens, blues, and golds. Swipe on the spice with the by Beauty Bay Desert Haze 20 color palette. Inspired by glowing horizons and sun-soaked stands, bring the heat with fiery coppers, gleaming golds, and bold cactus greens. Venture into hazy shimmers and desert dune mattes, or melt into our hero hue Mirage, which is a glistening golden green shimmer duochrome. Vegan and cruelty-free, it is currently available, so I will link it down below. Yeah, Mirage, this shade up here is one that I want to use in today's video for sure. So that'll be in the plans. I did purchase this palette myself. Let me know if you picked up this palette. I would love to know, but let's get started. So like I said, I have had experience with Beauty Bay and their lighter mattes not being super pigmented. So I definitely want to try out this shade Yucca right here. I am going to use kind of a denser brush to give it the best chance. I'm going to pick it up. I want to put this in the inner part of my crease and into my inner corner, kind of wrapping it in the inner part of my eye. Yeah, I mean, I can see it. It's not the most pigmented matte pastel yellow I've ever used. It does seem a little on the thin side. I'm carrying this into my crease about halfway through the eye. Yeah, I mean, you can see it, but I've used better. Next, I'm gonna go into the shade Fennec right here, this really pretty brown, on a fluffy brush, and I'm gonna put this through the crease on the outer half of my eye. I'm gonna turn down my light because now that it's a little later in the day, the light is coming through my window. Next, I want to go in with the shade Scorpion right here and put this in the outer corner of my eye. It's a brown with a purple undertone. Yeah, that shade's not performing great. It's a little thin. It could also be my eyelid because my eyelid does look a little dry on this side, but is looking a little patchy on my left eye. I'm gonna take that same shade and put it on my lower lash line. So I put the Clionadh in Bat to the Brow Shine On Shimmer Shadow Enhancer onto my lid off camera. I wanna go into that duochrome Mirage. It feels very smooth. It is beautiful. Look at that shade. I don't know if I've ever seen a shade like that. It's green gold to like a cranberry. Oh, very excited. That is beautiful. Look at that. Wow. Stunning. I love that. Can really see the shift when I turn my head. And I want to enhance the yellow in my inner corner a little bit more. So I'm going to go into the shade Soul, which is the yellow shimmer, and I'm going to put this in my inner corner. Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, I'm gonna head off camera. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my look. I will come back to show you the final look and to wrap up the video. All right, and this is the finished look with the Desert Haze palette. What do you think? The shimmer is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. This is a total me look right now. I have been embracing like not wearing lashes and something a little more light and bright on the eyes. It's just been something I've been into recently. And yeah, I'm really happy with this look. I will say that that light matte yellow was not the most pigmented, kind of my experience in the past, but I have to keep using this palette to continue to get a feel for all of the shadows, but you'll have to let me know if you picked up this palette and what you think about it. Please let me know down in the comments. So yeah, I was so excited to try out all of these new collections and I really enjoyed them all. I think they all have pros and cons, you know, which I described in their individual tutorials, but let me know of your thoughts on any of the things that I used in today's video. Like I said, they're all gonna be linked down below in the description box. Everything that is on my face in every look is in the description box. And yes, I will see you in another video really soon. Bye.